Years, but for the most part, it is original, and you can see that it is built up on these stanchions so that it's elevated. This serves several purposes. One is for the potential that if there's ever flooding at all, it's not going to flood out the house. Maybe you'll like to do. You want to sit here on this fun thing. House. So first are these beautiful floors. This is heart pine, and right, and the third one down is Miss Maud Graham and Evans Hale. So this is when they were courting, and they would eventually be married. Music furnished by the Young Beach Orchestra, a jolly good time and plenty to eat. So I guess that was a good party. So yeah, you can see they kind of wrote all sorts of things and scribbled all kinds of crazy things. They were, you know, young and having fun. So,
wow, look at the piano.
and there are over 12,500 words on the walls, and they have all been cataloged. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a painstaking process. So we can head across the hall into the parlor. So this is the parlor, or the formal living room, and this is where Thomas and Serena would have done their entertaining when they lived in the house. And so that's Thomas and Serena there on the window, or on the mantle. Thomas looking very debonair, and Serena kind of tired. But
after 15 kids?
15 kids, right? Exactly. So most of the writing in this room is, again, from the kind of those party days. You can see a lot of signatures with the dates from the early 1900s on the walls here. We do have some of Serena's writing on the walls as well. We start to see that. And this, we know it's her writing because she also kept a diary, so we can tell her writing from other people's writing. And she was a bit eccentric. She wrote all sorts of strange and interesting things on the walls. One of them is right here. This is her recipe for how to cure dysentery. But you can be the judge of that. It's 15 drops of turpentine, 10 to 15 drops of laudanum, 1 teaspoonful of paregoric, which is like morphine, in a glass of water. Repeat every 3 hours if necessary. So I don't know if that combination would cure anything. It might kill you, it might not kill you, I don't know. But it sounds like a recipe for disaster for me, but that was 1800s medicine. Yeah. So some other things that were taxed at that time when building a house were chimneys and closets. So closets in this house, some of them are regular closets like that one is. And some of them are what I like to call early tax evasion. So they are these pass-through closets. There are 3 of these. And even though this is very clearly a closet with shelves on one side and hooks on the other, because you can walk through it and it connects to the closet, we do have some of the artifacts and things that we've found on the property. So you can see things like old brooms and bricks and stuff like that, shoes and different things.
Very big. You like the house?
And so this room is the nursery.
The nursery.
And so that is the original Hale family crib. And that's where all those
This
kids
one?
would have, that's where all those kids would have slept until they were old enough to go upstairs. And this is another one of Serena's quirky little household tips. And it says, hot sharp vinegar will take off mortar and paint from window glass. Soda water will remove smoke from walls. Cayenne pepper will drive away ants and mice. And rough on rats will clear away flies, rats, roaches, and bed bugs. And so rough on rats was like a brand of, it had rough on roaches, rough on rats, rough on all sorts of stuff. It was arsenic.
Wow.
Oh, no, you're fine. So this is also another one of the original pieces of furniture. This is by Johnson Chestnut, who was enslaved by the family. He also built that bed in Thomas and Serena's bedroom. So Johnson Chestnut, when emancipation happened, the slaves weren't considered people, so they didn't have last names. And then after emancipation, they suddenly were considered people, so they had to choose surnames for themselves. So a lot of them chose the last names of their former owners because they really didn't know what else to do. So, but one way that some of them would slightly change it a little bit would be to change the spelling slightly so that they were a little bit different from the people who used to own them. And that's what Johnson did. When he chose his surname, he chose Chestnut, which was Serena's maiden name, but he added so 20 rats on January 29th,
Oh.
1889, 6 in the crib on January 11th, 1890. So that's the corn crib, that's not the baby crib. And then over here she has all sorts of things on the walls, like Bible verses and recipes and all sorts of different things. And then this one, I always like to point out, this is a weather report essentially for January 1886. She's keeping track of all of the weather. So this is the office for the plantation. And there normally would not be a pie safe in the office, but we have nowhere else to put it right now. So, but that's where they would normally put their pies to cool so they wouldn't get eaten by bugs. This is Thomas's original desk. And you can see by the design of this that the office opens out to the back porch. This is so that anyone who had business with the plantation or enslaved people who needed to come up would not have to go through the main house. They could just come here and talk business with Thomas. Or palm trees is a giant hole in the ground, and that is the cistern for the house. So this is a gutter that would have flown into the cistern and collected all the rainwater that would have gone in there and collected, and that would have been all of the water supply for the house, for bathing, washing, doing dishes. Another one of Serena's quirky things that she wrote on the wall is right here. On March 29th, 1883, she's keeping track of her forks, big spoons, and little spoons. So we know from her diary that we can head into the schoolroom. Where did you guys come from? Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Are those measurements over there where she measured the kids' heights?
Yeah, there's some in her bedroom. Yeah, that are that. Yeah. I'll take you for the quick spin since you came so far.
You got the kids on the camera like.
So this is the schoolroom, and this is where all those 14 kids would have been. There were 15, but one died in infancy, so 14 kids would have been educated. So we're happy they did, because we will eventually move it to the kitchen when we get that rebuilt. And here we have some information about the enslaved people that were here on the farm. I always like to point out this 1860 federal census. You can see Thomas Hale's name here. He was 55 at the time, male. And then we have a lot of ages and sexes, and we have a lot of...
Good.
Okay, so
Slowly.
you guys can gather over there. So if you guys want to gather on that side over there,
on, Charlotte. Here, Charlotte. Come on, Charlotte.
Sort of gather that way. So this room, we kind of refer to as the trunk room. We don't really know what it was used for. Might have been used for overflow kids, might have been. So this is the girls' room, and of the 15 kids that the Hales had, 3 were girls, and 1 died in infancy before they moved here. So Mary and her sister Amelia were the only 2 girls that had this big, beautiful room, nice big walk-in closet where we keep our Christmas decorations now. And you can see Mary in the picture on the left there on top of that dresser. And that dresser is actually one of my favorite pieces of furniture in the house. It is slave furniture, and it is recycled packing crates. And if you look inside the drawers, you can see the stamps from the original companies that the packing crates came from. So if somebody
Me encantó. Está súper lindo.
¿Te imaginas con tu traje aquí? Sin internet, sin nada. Leyendo, estudiando, pensando en un príncipe azul.